I didn't mess up this time.
Yes.
Woo!
We're here with Nick Hipa, guitarist from As I Lay Dying. How you doing today, man?
Good, man.
Yeah.
Good. Great.
It's been a hectic day out there.
Oh, has it? For you guys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
They overbooked by 400.
Yeah, something like that.
Really?
And then they forgot about the fact that there was a guest list, including I See Stars' family members.
Yeah.
Who they're giving, like we overheard someone saying they're giving up their actual passes, their credentials to get their families in.
That's actually what Asking Alexandria's tour guide did to help us get in. So.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, crazy.
Anyway, we're here to talk about your guys' performance here tonight, coming up here soon. We're gonna talk about a new album. Talk about life on the road and all that. I guess to start, you guys have come such a long way since the beginning. You guys have been together for 10 years now, over 10 years. And I'm just kind of curious to know, how you feel your sound has progressed from that first album up until, Awakened, your most recent album.
It's hard to I think talk about how a sound has progressed. I think it's just something that people would have to listen to, because it's really just all the obvious elements of a band maturing. Everyone's better at their instrument, it's better writing songs. There's just been improvements in all of the areas of the band as far as as we're concerned. So I guess it's something that you would just have to listen to Forever Words Collapse and listen to Awakened, and then make a decision for yourself how the sound has evolved.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about the writing process for Awakened, how that progressed? Is it progressed any differently than any of the other albums?
Well, on albums like Shadows Are Security or even An Ocean Between Us, we did things like the old-fashioned way, which is just get in a room and share riffs, and songs would come out of that. But on The Powerless Rise, Decus, and Awakened, we just we kind of did a combination of the new and the old. We all recorded individual ideas, whether that those were full songs or full riffs, and we would send them to each other to the point where we had roughly 35 ideas out, and we would pick the strongest ones, and we would take those ideas and jam those out in a room, and whatever changes were made, we would re-record. And so by the time we went in to record the album, we already knew completely what we wanted to do.
Alright, cool. Could you tell us a little bit about maybe the overall message of Awakened? I remember the last time we actually had a chance to get together and talk. The album hadn't come out yet. You kind of hinted towards a few things. You didn't go too much into it. But now that the album's released, it's got a lot of really powerful songs, and I'm kind of curious what the overall message of the album is, maybe musically or lyrically.
Yeah, I think there's not it's not so much of a I'd say an overall concept running through the entire thing as much as there was on An Ocean Between Us or The Powerless Rise. But again, lyrics are written by Tim from a very personal standpoint, and I think he just tackles a lot of ideas and things that he's dealing with from the place that he's in now. As in this Tim at this stage of his life is probably different from Tim 4 or 5 years ago, and just the way he views the world. So it's like the music, the lyrics are one of those things that you just have to kind of read and gather for yourself, I think.
What's been your most, at least on this tour, the most your favorite song to be playing? Your favorite, what the crowd gets into most? What you guys love playing most?
Oh, I always like playing new songs, and on this record, or on this tour, we're only able to play a few, but A Greater Foundation has been a really fun one to play, just because, we're not completely burnt out on it, songs that we've been playing for 7 or 8 years, so that's one that I really enjoy playing. And then the last song of the set is called The Sound of Truth, and it's one of those songs that it's just fun on guitar, so I can't get tired of that one.
Now, I've had a question that I didn't get to ask last time. It's actually about that song, Sound of Truth. What is it really about? Because I've seen the music video. It kind of has makes me think of V for Vendetta, that movie about
oh yeah,
corrupt government. That's kind of what I think about when I listen to that song.
Well, yeah, it's funny because the I don't think the video ties in to the concept of the lyrics. They're not conceptually attached. I think the Nothing Left and Sound of Truth videos kind of have their own plot line, and the Sound of Truth is more about people like essentially just hearing what they want to hear, and that's, you know, believing what they want to believe because they've already convinced themselves that that's right, you know. But and the video is like this post-apocalyptic, like Big Brother type of thing. So
yeah, absolutely.
For This Is Who We Are, the tour you guys did for that consisted primarily of like smaller venues. What was the idea behind that?
Wait, you mean for the DVD?
For the DVD, yeah.
Yeah, well, in the DVD we played, we actually talk about it in the DVD why we played those small venues, and that was mostly because we were playing full albums that the capacity of the venues we played kind of reflected the stage in the band's like career as far as like, you know, venues. So Fair Wars Collapse, we were playing like 200 to 400, 500 cap maybe. So that's why we played that really small show at Seacoast. And then, you know, we played Shadows Are Security, which, you know, was when the band started to grow. So we played at a venue in San Marcos, California called the Jumping Turtle, which I think we fit like 500 or 600 people in there. And then we played at the Grove, which was like our full set, and it kind of represented where the band was now. So the idea to do that was to just, you know, kind of show different points in the band's career.
Now, obviously you guys have grown, you've gotten to a couple new points since then. The reason we asked that question is we were kind of wondering if maybe at some point in the future, maybe for a future DVD, you might do something similar, or, you know, so just like the idea of that was really interesting for the DVD. So.
Well, yeah, but I think it's one of those things that we probably couldn't do again because, you know, we like those albums have already been covered and those venues have been covered. So if we do a DVD in the future, it would probably be slightly different. You know?
Yeah.
Now, I know we asked you this last time we talked to you at Mayhem. What's been either most defining or preferably the craziest story from this tour so far? We already heard a great one about, who did you tell us about?
Cameron.
About Cameron in the bathroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, those guys have new stories every day. Touring with these guys is a lot of fun, but I can't really think of anything that stands out as of yet because we were on a tour in Europe from like October 13th to November 14th, and we went straight into this tour, and so it's all been kind of a blur. And I think, you know, every day we try and take it somewhat easy.
Now, talking about this tour a little bit, obviously you've been on it for close to a month now, nearing that point. I'm just kind of curious to know, you might be a little touchy of a subject. We asked, asking Alexandria this earlier, you know, Suicide Silence was one of the bands originally on the card for the tour, and, you know, tragedy struck when Mich passed away. I'm just kind of curious how that may have affected your guys' play, performances, starting the tour and moving forward, and how you feel Icy Stars has kind of filled that void.
There's a lot in that question, so I think I'll just, for me, like, it's just, you know, when you lose a friend, because it wasn't just like a band that we're playing with, those were good friends of ours. Yeah. It's hard, you know. So as with any sort of like tragedy, you just learn to cope. I mean, obviously we aren't. It's not as hard hitting for us as like it is for Mitch's family. You know, like they're the ones really dealing with it. But it's unfortunate that we lost, you know, a brother and a dude that we enjoyed being around. You know, Icy Stars joined the tour in place of Suicide Silence, and they're doing really well. They fit on this package, and it kind of actually makes us the odd band out because with Suicide Silence on the bill, you know, we represented the more like extreme forms of metal. Yeah. But with them not being here, we kind of stick out for better or worse, and that's cool with us, you know, because there's still a lot of good vibes and good dudes on this tour, and it's, you know, we're happy to be out here, and you know, we still, you know, talk to our friends at Suicide Silence and are just you know, looking forward to seeing what all those guys end up doing.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I know it was kind of a touchy question, but something you know, felt needed to be asked. But looking at the positives so far during this tour, you know, you toured over the summer for Mayhem with Asking Alexandria. You got Attila, Memphis Mayfire, Icy Stars. You know, how does As I Lay Dying? I know you said they kind of stick out, but how do you guys get along on the road? Obviously you're all probably friends, but
how do we get along on the road with these bands?
Yeah.
Great. I mean, on this tour in the States, like we you know, we all kind of have our own thing that we do every day. You know, wake up, go get coffee, go to the gym. Like, you know, everyone's got their own thing. But when we do see the guys after the show, it's really cool. Like, you know, again, like we've toured with Alexandria before, so they're good friends at this point. And you know, we're just meeting these other bands, but they've been really cool and really awesome to get to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we interviewed Alexandria, there was a little bit of alcohol back here, so we asked them a question about that. For you guys to see a 360 here, what's your game of choice?
You know what's funny is we can't get that 360 going.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
like
so disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know. I only like playing football. Like I only like playing like Madden
Real football,
games.
not their football, right?
Yeah, like real like American football. So I prefer playing like EA Sports games and stuff like that.
Who's your team?
My team is the Chargers, and then other than that, like, you know, I've obviously got a vested interest in different players in the NFL because I play in fantasy.
Right, of course.
A couple fantasy leagues. Yeah, that's my main interest.
I guess we can probably wrap this up, but I got one more question for you.
Sure, yeah.
I'm just kind of curious. I know Dylan actually brought this up earlier. He wants to know what kind of message you would like fans to take away from your music at the end of the day.
Huh. You know, it's hard because I think there's a lot of things that people can take away from the band, but if anything, and hopefully some way it inspires, just because obviously I'm a musician, and hopefully what we do in the band pumps other guitar players up, pumps other musicians up, like, and lyrically, hopefully people find like something that they can relate to, that just complements their life. You know,
Yeah.
we don't want to have any sort of negative or like degrading or just bad type of vibe or attitude associated with our band. We try and keep it positive and uplifting. So that's, you know, whether that's, you know, somebody listening to the drums and the guitars only, and, you know, getting inspired to improve at their own instrument, or listening to Tim's lyrics and having, you know, that touch them in some way, or, you know, help them through something. Like, you know, that's all we really want, you know, on a personal level. And then at a show, we just want people to go crazy.
Well, how would you describe, I guess, an As I Lay Dying show?
Hopefully just energetic and aggressive, brutal, you know. Hopefully those are all words that work.
Those are 3 good adjectives right there.
Oh,
Right.
sick.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, man.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you
We're here
guys.
with Nick Hipa, lead guitarist from As I Lay Dying. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, of course.